Hello and welcome back to another State of the Market for February 2023. I'm Scott Zaino. I'll be your host for the next 15 minutes or so, coming to you live from my office here at Keller Williams Luxury Real Estate here in Centerville. So February was a interesting month. A little bit of changes from January, a few fluctuations here and there. Um, so we hope everyone is continuing to stay safe and healthy out there. We've had some amazing weather, right? Sunny one day, 40 degrees. Next day, it's snowy. But before you know it, the crocuses and the daffodils will be popping, and we'll be right back into our good spring weather here on beautiful Cape Cod. So I want to jump right in with it, into it with you right now. We're going to talk about our 4 or 5 different quadrants, and then we'll talk about the health score for the month of February for the real estate business here for Cape Cod and the islands from Plymouth to P-Town. So I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen and get you right over to here. All right. So the first quadrant we want to talk about is median sales price. So we're hovering at 629.5, right? So prices went up from January from 610. So they went up about 19,000 as a median sales price. So for anybody that's sitting on the sidelines waiting for the prices to go down, this is the beginning of the increase of prices due to low inventory, which we'll get into in a minute. So would have been nice to see the prices come down a little bit, make everything a little more affordable. Absolutely. But the way things are going here with the interest rates and the low inventory, the prices did, unfortunately, they did go up to 629.5 as a median sales price, up from January at 610. Okay. Let's talk about properties for sale. So this is the driving force of the real estate market right now. Okay. Just like eggs have been in the last few months, there's been a shortage of eggs and the price went up. It's the same thing with real estate. So February, we ended at 378 units. For all the sellers out there that are thinking about selling, there's no better time to put your house on the market than right now. I can't stress that enough. So 378 units for the end of February. In January, we're already down low inventory, 453. And so now we went down another 75 units to 378. And I'm going to share with you how low that actually is. So we're just creeping along the bottom of the ocean floor here. Okay. If you go back pre-COVID, March 2020, 1,986 units. And that's really not a lot. That was pre-COVID. And since then, it's been nothing but up and down along the bottom of the ocean floor, just bouncing around the bottom of the floor, 378 units. So again, for all you sellers out there, if you're looking to sell your house for top dollar and sell it fast, get your 3Ps in line, right? Make sure you price it right. Make sure you promote it correctly, and make sure it's presented properly to the world, and be a little patient, okay? Because the days on market actually have gone up, all right, which I'm going to get to next. So homes for sale on Flex, which is our local MLS here, from P-Town to Plymouth, 378 units. That also includes land and condominiums. Okay. Let's talk about the days on market, right? So this tells us how quickly properties are going under contract. So today we're sitting at 33 days for the end of February, right? January, it was, it was 28 days. So we actually added an uptick of days of 5 days. So it's taking an additional 5 days for properties to go into contract for the month of February. 33 days is still very, very low. Pre-pandemic, Let's see, we're at 68 days, which is twice. Um, I don't know why the days have actually ticked up. I don't know if buyers are taking their time or if they're waiting for the right house or what, but I'm not really sure why the days ticked up. You would think that they would stay the same or go down. But here we are at the end of February at 33 days. January was 28. We had an uptick of 5 additional days um, to get your property under contract. Let's talk about months of supply. So months of supply tells us how much inventory is available. And at the end of 1.2 months, we would be completely out of supply. Our shelves would be empty. So we've talked about this before, right? So if you have maybe 4.5 months of supply, that's a seller's market. Then you have your, say, 4.5, 5.5, maybe 6 months of inventory, which is like a neutral market. And then you have 6 months or more, which is a buyer's market, right? We've talked about this before. So we have been in a seller's market for an extremely long period of time, and I don't see it getting, I don't see it changing with this inventory being so low. So we're currently sitting at 1.2 months of inventory. January it was 1.4. I showed you before our inventory had dropped, so our months of supply is going to drop in correlation to that. Okay, we go back to March of 2020, and it was more of a balanced market. Wasn't a seller's market. It wasn't really a buyer's market. It was more of a neutral market. But since then, you can see all these months are all well below 4 months of inventory. Okay. Let's talk about price per square foot. There are people out there that still might want to build. I know that land is expensive, and I know that land is very hard to find. And so I thought we talk about um, price price per square foot in case you want to build. So the price per square foot at the end of February ended at 417. Now, can you build a house for 350 a square foot? Yes. Um, Especially if you do some work yourself, and especially if you don't go too super high end. But if you build a nice above average quality house with quartz or granite and stainless and hardwood floors, things like that, you're going to be in the $417 a square foot range, which from January, it went up $17 a square foot. It's been kind of bouncing around a little bit, took a little dip, and now it's back, of course, because it's spring. But if we go back just, let's see, March of 2020, it was just under 300 a square foot. So if you bought a house and had it built back in 2020, you've got some nice equity in that house from the market going up nicely, and you also were able to build that house for that much less than today at $417 a square foot. Let's talk about the percentage of list price to sale price. So this tells us when we put a house on the market, how much are we going to get for the house? In the past, it's been 100, 102, 103. It's been flat for a couple of months at 100. And so what this tells us is if you listed your house for $1 million, at the end of February, all the houses averaged out were 98%, which means you could have bought perhaps $1 million house for 980. Okay. So February is sitting at 98%. January was at 97.3. So the offers got a little bit stronger by 0.7 of a point at 98% of the list to sales price ratio. If we go back here, back in November and October, they were all sitting around 100%, which meant if you put your house on the market for $1 million, you get $1 million. And then you can see back here in, April, May, and June, 102, 103%. So over asking. So we're sitting at 98% for your percentage of list to sales price ratio. So with all that in, let me just go back here. Let's see here. There I am. Okay. So with all that, um, in taking all those notes and all those adjustments, and where we're standing. So last month I started giving the real estate market a health score. It's no different than if you were going into the doctor for your yearly physical. We do the state of the market reports on a monthly basis. So I wanted to give the real estate market a score per month. So last month I was at 8.5. This month I actually dropped it to 8.4. And the only reason I did that is the interest rates went up a tad from last month, January to February. Okay. So we saw some good interest rates down in the low high fives, I should say, 5.9. I saw a 30-year fixed rate, 5.9, 5.8. Today they're sitting around 6.2, 6.3. So this is what the Feds do. They kind of play with the rate, they adjust it up and down, and they kind of take the temperature of the market and see how things and see how people are reacting to the market. It's no different than if you were fishing, right? You start with a clam on your bait. If you're not getting a hit, maybe you switch to corn. If not, maybe you switch to a lure or something like that to catch fish, right? So that's the same thing. Is they're playing with the interest rate and they're trying to find the sweet spot for the interest rate. And in my opinion, based off of what I've been reading and hearing and seeing, I predict that the interest rates will probably go down into the mid fives. It might not be this quarter, might not be next quarter, but I think eventually you're going to see them. And I think that's a good, comfortable spot. I think people are okay with that. I don't think we're going to ever see anything in the threes and the fours ever again. But I also don't think that they're going to go high like they were in the 6.5, sevens, back in November, December, January. So today we're sitting around, low sixes, 6.2, 6.3. If you're thinking about buying a home and you'd like a nice pre-approval from a professional lender, by all means, reach out to us. We work with only the best of the best. So my number is 508-566-0051, or you can shoot me an email anytime. For those who know, my door is always open. Email me at sjzaino@gmail.com. That wraps it up today for the February State of the Market. We'll talk to you soon. God bless. And if you have any questions, give us a buzz, shoot me an email, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.